There, it's Rachel from All About the House. If we haven't met before, I'm a graphic designer with a shop on Etsy where I sell printable planners and organization tools. So you can find me at All About the House if you do a search on Etsy. So in this video, I'm just going to run through the new craft show planner and some of the pages that are included, how printable works, etc. So it's available in 6 different colors. Just ignore the color of the image, look at the text there because it takes a long time to create the preview image. I just use the same one for all the different colors. So we've got it in purple, grey, green, black, light blue and pink. So if we just click on this one, it'll take us to the listing. So there's 100 pages included in this planner. So we've got everything from covers and dividers if you want to place the printables in a binder, or if you want to spiral bind them into a notebook. And then there's also planning pages for things to take to your craft show, like order forms, time trackers, checklists, etc., expense logs. So there's heaps of different pages included. There's a closer look at what the other colors look like. So here is a list of all the ones that are included. So you get a cover, this belongs to page in case you lose your planner, so people know where to return it. And then we go into the printables. So what I like to do if I'm going to a craft show, or I know that I will be, at the start of the year, I think of all the craft shows that I might want to attend and I note these on this page here. So if I know that in January there's going to be this craft show that I want to attend, then I note them all down, and then I can start planning which ones I actually have time to go to when you think of all like the personal stuff happening in your life, if you're going on a vacation so you can't go to that craft show, etc. So I'd like to start with the annual planning and then filter down into like monthly what I'm doing, and then decide which craft shows I'm going to attend. So once I do decide that I'm going to attend a craft show, another way that I can do some more research before I forget is with the show's research page. So that way you can compare things like the cost, if a table hire is included, if insurance is included, how close it is to public transport, how many days the event runs for, if it's in your local area, or if you're going to have to pay to ship all of your products there, etc. So once you decide, then after using that show's research page, we can then go into the checklist. So there is a blank and a pre-filled countdown checklist. So it's got all the tasks that you need to do before the show, on the day of the show, and after the show. So after the show is really crucial, and I really wanted to make sure that it was a very comprehensive checklist that covers everything. So all like your marketing, things to do with your products, like you need to decide what products you're actually going to take, you need to make sure that you've ordered all your supplies, you need to create your marketing images, plan out your stall. There is a little planner page for that where you can sketch out how you want to set up your booth, what stuff you're going to have on each table, etc. And then there's also a weekly countdown, so like 2 weeks before, where you can fill in whatever tasks are relevant to you and personalize it and make it really custom to suit yourself. And then we go into the sales log. So when you're at the actual craft show, you're going to want to keep track of what you're selling for a couple of reasons. So you know which products are popular and which ones you should take again next year. So then when you get home, your inventory is already done. You can just tally up your little check marks of how many have sold, and then you can update your inventory, and also to check that nothing was stolen if you actually made any money. So that's how you would calculate how many items you sold, the selling price, etc. Because there's no point attending a market if you're not actually making any money from it. Like, that's just silly. You need to make sure that you're actually earning proper revenue for the time that you invested. And there is a weekly time tracker printable as well if you want to keep track of that, which I really do recommend, because you don't realize, like, you think, yeah, a craft show involves a lot of work, but it actually involves like a lot more work than you think. And you might think, okay, I made like $200 at this craft show, yay, but then you actually look at how much time you spent, and if that was like 50 hours, it's like, oh, actually that probably wasn't that worthwhile. So I do encourage you to use that time tracker page, which is included, I'll get to it in a minute, included to make sure you are keeping track and making sure you're spending your time wisely. Then there is also an order form. So this one's really popular, really popular printable. So if you're at the markets and someone sees a product that you have there, but they want it in a different color or a different style, size, etc., you can take like a pre-order from them and keep track of all those order details using this form. Or if you're sold out of an item, that's another way to use that order form as well. Then there's a couple of inventory. So like I said before, you want to make sure you're keeping track of everything that you're taking. Don't just shove everything in a box and go. You want to make sure that you are tracking which products sold well so you know where to focus your time better. And this printable is in both portrait, which is your usual page orientation, and also landscape if you just want a bit more room to write. Then there is the Babysitter notes page. So I thought this page would be really handy because you might be leaving your kids with your aunt, with their aunt, etc. So that's just a handy page because everything's a big mad rush before you go to the craft show, and you might forget to tell them something. So if you just put it all on this sheet, then it's already there, and they can refer to it and not have to text you or ring you when you're in the middle of the craft show. So the show's research I mentioned before. Then we've got the newsletter sign-up sheet. So I highly encourage you to start a newsletter for your Etsy shop. Email marketing is a goldmine. Once people get on your list, you can then market to them. You can give them helpful tutorials about how to use your products, etc. And that really helps to increase the chances of them purchasing from you, because people will likely forget about you after they leave the craft show, especially if it's a huge one and there's lots of different stall holders. So you want to make sure that you capture their email addresses and their names, so you can then send them emails and they might go, oh yeah, I wanted to actually order something from this shop, but if you don't have them sign up on your mailing list or you don't give them a business card, they're not going to remember to place an order from you, or they won't be able to know where to find you after the show. Then we've got a marketing plan. So before, after, and during the show, you do need to be marketing. So I've got a checklist of all the things that you should be doing, and then there's also a spot to review what worked and didn't work, because if you're posting 20 times on Twitter and you're not seeing anything from it, well then you should really get off Twitter. So we've got insurance policies next. So insurances is not always included with the fee for a craft show stall. So if you do have to purchase your own insurance, like public liability, then this page you can compare different policies for insurers and keep track of when it expires, just in case something happens, to make sure that you are actually still covered under your policy or when you need to renew it. The next page is the flight info. So if you are going to a craft show that's out of town and you need to book flights, or you want to compare airfares, etc., this is the page where you would record that info. So you can pick and choose which pages you want to use out of the planner. You don't have to print all of them if you don't want to. You can print the pages as many times as you like. You can print one page 50 times if you want to. You can print one page once, or you can just not print the pages that you don't need at all. Once you purchase the files, they're a digital download. You can use them as many times as you like for your personal use and for any and every craft show that you want to attend. So the next page is the stall or booth layout. So I mentioned this one before. It's space to plan what's going on each table. I do encourage you to do a practice display table before you get to the markets. It can be a bit of a, oh my god, so much going on, and you don't want it to just look really crap and like everything's just been slapped on the table. You want it to look nice and organized. Make sure that you've got enough like shelving and things to raise stuff up off the table. You don't want everything to just be flat, because you want people to see your table from a distance and go, oh my god, I have to go check out that booth. So one of the ways I like to raise items up on a table is to get white boxes or acrylic like brochure display stands as well. So that's definitely a page that you should be using. So the next one is the price list. So you'll get asked so many times, how much is this? I want to purchase this, but how much is it? There's no price anywhere. So if you've got the price list in front of you, you can simply tell them what the price is, and especially if you're going to be doing discount deals, so if they purchase 5 products, they get it for this amount, etc. So that's where you would keep track of that. You could also place this on the front of your table so people can just pick it up and have a look at it and not have to ask you what the price is, especially if you're serving another customer. You don't want people to be waiting around having to ask you 20 million questions if it can just be answered with that one piece of paper on your table. So I threw this one in there. It's a holiday prep checklist. So I know that craft shows are really popular to attend towards the holiday season. So I included this page, and it's got everything to make sure that your Etsy shop, online shop, or wherever you sell, even if you have a bricks and mortar store, is prepared for the holidays. There is a filled in with things like, oh, determine how much you're going to offer for Black Friday, prepare your marketing images, send an email to your newsletter, post on Instagram, etc., stuff like that. Make sure you order all your supplies, and that is a countdown checklist, so it's pre-filled, and there's also a blank version if you want to add tasks specific to your own shop. Then another way that you can increase your sales after the show, so I mentioned email marketing before, is to do wholesale and retail. So when you're at the show, it's a really good networking opportunity to talk to other stall holders and see if they want to stock some of your products in their shop, or if you want to actually purchase wholesale from another shop. So that's what these pages are for. You can keep track of all their contact details and what they sold, so you can actually remember after the show to go and email them and say, hey, I would like to purchase this amount, etc. So that's what those pages are for. Then we go into the spending logs and the show expenses. So the spending log, there is two versions. There's one page where you can just keep a track of all your expenses. So if you don't have that many expenses, that's what that page is good for. If you do have a lot of expenses, then I encourage you to use the categorized one, which has one page per expense. You can list all of your marketing expenses on one page, all of your product supplies, etc. on another one. It's really important that you keep track of all of the costs involved in attending the craft show, not just the like booth fee. You need to make sure that you are actually keeping track of all your expenses, so then you can determine if you are actually making a profit for all of the effort involved in attending a craft show. And then the show expenses, where you can set a budget and see if you went over or under, which helps for budgeting for when you attend future craft shows as well. And that one is also categorized and just one per page if you don't have that many expenses to record. Then we have the customer feedback page. So when you're at the markets, it's a really good spot to actually get some decent feedback from people. You'll probably hear them going, oh, this is really cute, to their friend, or oh, do you have this in this color, and oh my god, this is so cute, I love this product, etc. So this is the page where I like to record all of those customer comments. So I typically do this after a craft show when I'm doing my show review, which is another printable page, which I'll go through in a minute. But if you do have a lull in sales at your booth during the craft show, then that's a good time to fill this page out. As always, some lined note paper, because that's always handy. So this is that time tracker I was talking about before. So I do encourage you to keep track of all the time that you spend on everything involved in attending the craft show. So everything from how much time you spent posting on social media, the time involved in ordering supplies for the products you took, the time involved making your products, packaging them all, putting them in your car, driving to the show, etc., to make sure that you are actually making a decent profit, if you are charging the right price, if you took enough inventory or you didn't take too much, etc. So that is a time tracker page, which is across 2 pages, so it's like a weekly planner where you can record in half-hour time increments. Then we go to the supplies checklist. So this one is pre-filled, because I don't want you sitting there going, oh my god, what do I need to take? I've already done a few craft shows, so I've listed out all of the things that I typically take to a craft show, which most people would take, and there's also space if you want to add your own items to take, which is specific to your shop. Then we have the supplies to order page, which is for all of your products. So if you know, once you decide that you're attending a craft show and you know what products you're going to take, you can then determine which supplies you need to then order to make those products. So that's where you can list them all on this page and make sure that you tick them off when you have ordered them, so you're not ordering like the same thing 3 times and end up with way too much inventory. Next page is the shipping costs. So I mentioned earlier, if you have a craft show that you're attending and it's not in your local area and you're going to have to pay to get all of your products to that show, then this page can be used to compare the cost of shipping. So if you use USPS, if you decide to use a freight company, if you want to send it by plane, by train, or however you're transporting it to your craft show, then you can compare the cost on this page here. Then at the craft show, another thing that you want to do is pre-orders. So if you know that you've got a new product launching soon, then a craft show is a great time to promote it. So you can record all of the people that are interested in joining the waiting list, or if they're interested in pre-ordering. So if you're sold out of items, use the waiting list. If you have a product that is not coming in stock for a while, then I recommend using the pre-order list. So this one is like before a product is released, and this one is if a product has been released. So this is a good way to garner interest if products are going to be popular or not, so you can focus your marketing efforts better of who you're going to be marketing to, etc. So the last pages are the show review pages. So there's one to keep track of all the ones that you went to during the year to see if it was worthwhile attending certain ones more so than others, so you don't waste your time on shows that aren't going to really make a difference to your bottom line. And then the last page that I like to do at the end of the year is to review all of the shows and see which ones you made the most money from, which ones you spent the most time, which ones were worthwhile, which ones you made a lot of sales after the show as well, not just at the show. Make sure you keep track of ones that you purchased after, determine, okay, I sent out 3 emails after that craft show and I made this much money, and it was more than when I sent out only 1 email. So then you know that, okay, 3 emails is optimum to send out to your list after the craft show. So then we go into the dividers. So to keep all of these pages organized, there's dividers for all of these different like topics for the craft shows, so you can keep them all organized and find exactly what you're looking for. So there's 32 different dividers with all these categories, and then there's also 12 months of the year if you prefer to plan monthly and turn this into like a personal planner, if you want to mix it with your normal daily planning pages and just intertwine it to create a new planner, or if you do want to keep it in a separate planner, I've given you the option if you want to do monthly or just by category of like what's involved in attending a craft show. So there is 100 pages in all, so it's quite a large kit. Remember that you can pick and choose which pages that you want to print. You don't have to print them all. You can just print the ones that are relevant to you and print them as many times as you like. It is a digital download product, so it's PDF files, so you download and then can print as many times as you want. Make sure that you have Adobe Reader installed. It's a free PDF viewer program by Adobe. I'll include a link below this video if you don't already have it installed on your computer. And then you can type in the fields as well because they're editable. So I'll just open up one of the pages and run through what editable means, because I do get asked that quite often. So when you purchase and download, you'll receive 3 zip folders. If this window doesn't automatically pop up with the files, just go to the downloads folder of your computer and the files will be in there. You can also run a search if you're looking for a specific planner page, or you can just pull all of the pages out of the zip folders and put it in one folder on your computer. They're in separate files because it's a large planner, so I can't actually zip them all in one file. It would be too large. So if you want to extract the folders, normally you can just double left click, but some people have that doesn't work for their computer, so if that's the case, just hit extract all and you'll be able to pull all the files out. So let's go in and have a look at some of the pages that are included. So if you're trying to decide which page you want to use, if you click on the PDF file and then you go to the list view, you can then left click and drag out this little thing here, and then you will get the preview of what the page is. So you can see, okay, do I need to print this page or not? And then it saves you having to open each of the files because there are 100 pages to go through. It's quicker if you just click and show the preview. So let's have a look at what editable means. So if you double left click to open the PDF file, when you open the file, you'll notice that there are light blue fields showing on the planner page when my computer eventually decides to load. It's just being a little slow today. So these light blue fields here are all editable. So if you click in here, you can then add whatever text that you want. You won't be able to change the font though. It is defaulted to a nice simple font that it's not like, oh my god, cursive like that. It's a simple font that's easy to read. So if we start typing, so marketing, let's say that you paid for advertising, etc. So then you can type straight in, and there's lots of room to type, or you can print the pages out and handwrite on them if you prefer. And then you can record the cost. So if you can live anywhere in the world, if you use $ or pounds, I've left it blank so you can put whatever currency suits you, or you can just type the number straight in. So you can go 200, and there's even room if you want to put the cents in if you want to keep track of exactly how much you spent. Usually I just round it up to the nearest dollar. And at the top of pretty much all of the pages, there is a section to record what show it's for. So if you're attending a couple of craft shows that are within close time frame of one another, so say one is 1 week and one's the next weekend, then you can keep track of all of them by having the show on the page, so you know which relates to what show to track it, remember, when you're doing that review. So let's just say this one was the Brisbane Planner Markets, which I attended a while ago. So then I'll just type the name of the markets and then the expense and the cost. So that's pretty much what Editable is. You can just type it in before printing. So if you know that you're going to have the same expenses for each show, you can type them all in and print it out. You don't have to handwrite it, because if you're anything like me, my handwriting sucks. It's really messy. Unfortunately, I wish I had nice handwriting, but it's not, which is one of the reasons I went to create editable planners, so I could just type it all in before printing. It saves time and it looks way neater. So once you've entered in all your info, you can then save the file. If you go File, Save As, and I recommend just renaming it with like a 1 on the end, or like pre-filled, or whatever you want to call it, just so that you've got a copy of the pre-filled version, and then you've still got a copy of the blank version with no text entered in, if you did want to come back later on and add some text or change it up a bit. So some of the other pages that are included, we've got this countdown to markets checklist, there was the Babysitter notes page, and then the order form. So this one is really popular. So there is plenty of space to record the order details. You click this button here, it will show the whole page. So you can write or type multiple lines of text. So just type whatever you want, and then you can hit enter to go to a new line. You can leave some spaces, so you might put size 8, and they wanted it in the hot pink. And then you could put like the SKU code if you wanted to, like your unique product code number, whatever you want to put. For notes, you might put that they have, they're going out of town, so don't ship it until after the 10th of June, or whatever notes that you want to add there. You might add your own personal notes as well, like yes, I have sent this order, etc. I do like to track if it's a return customer, so I keep all of these order forms in my planner, so I don't actually throw them out. I keep them in my planner, or I can scan them in and keep them digitally, but make sure you keep a copy, and then you can track who is ordering frequently from you, and if they do, I like to offer them a discount, like for being a loyal customer. So definitely keep track of your return customers. It also helps to know if your marketing efforts are working or not. And then you can also record the shipping method and tracking, so when you've actually shipped it, and then when it's expected to arrive. So if someone says, oh my god, it's been a month and I haven't received my order yet, you can go check here and be like, oh okay, actually this was a pre-order, so it hasn't shipped yet, or yes, it's shipped, here's your tracking number, so you can find where it's gone. And then the other thing is, if you're offering a customization fee, shipping, taxes, etc., you can record all that there as well. So that's the order form. Then we went through the spending log. There's a pretty cover, so you can bind it or put it in a planner if you want to. And then the supplies list. So this is a nice checklist. These ones here you can add your own tasks to on these lines, so you can add it before printing or after, whichever you prefer. So there's supplies list of things to take and set up so you don't forget anything, and then also marketing and anything else you want to keep track of. A list to keep track of all the supplies you want to order. Remember, there's this show at the top here, so you can keep track of which show it actually relates to if you're attending a few together. This is that annual planner I was talking about, so you can record the date that the show is and then what the name of the show is. So you might put on the 30th of January you're attending the handmade markets at blah blah blah. So then you can keep track of all of them and what you're doing for the entire year. The other thing is, all of the pages include an even number in the PDF file. So if it's a page like this one, it'll have the same page twice included in the document. And the reason for that is so you can do 2 per page printing, and then you can cut in half and you'll have 2 half-sized pages if you want to put them in a mini binder, or if you simply don't need that much room to write. So if you want to put the notes pages so you get more lines on one sheet, or if you just want to write, if you write small, or you want to save space or save paper. The other thing that you can do is duplex printing. So if you do, you can do automatic with 2 pages. You can also do manual, but that's always a bit of a pain. So I like to just do 2 pages, and then it will automatically do the duplex printing for me. And this is that market stall layout page I was talking about. So there's plenty of room to sketch out. You will need to draw it on paper. You can't do like a sketch digitally, you'll have to print that out. but you can type in any notes as well if you see something on Pinterest and you like the layout, or you want to keep track of, okay, this person got their brochure display holder from Officeworks, etc., and then keep track of all the products that you're putting on the table and also display items as well. So you might have like product samples and you're like, oh, okay, where should I put these, on which table? So that's how I like to plan that out using that printable. There's those monthly dividers. I've included the text on the right side of the page so that it's easy to find the month that you're looking for when you're flicking through your planner. So they are definitely really good to use, really handy. If you're flicking, you can quickly find what you're looking for. There's the insurance policies page, so you can compare all the different policies and keep track of which ones you actually have when they expire. The holiday prep checklist, so this one's a super comprehensive checklist, really detailed, with all the stuff that you should be doing to prepare for the holiday season. The customer feedback page, so I like to do this on a product by product basis, so you might put, yeah, this product was popular, but I like to have the product here and then list out all the different feedback. I just find it keeps it more organized than just random notes scattered everywhere or all over the page. So you might have the product and people didn't really like this color, but they loved this color, people wanted it in a different size, etc. The craft shows review page, so here is where you would keep track of all the shows that you intended, how much income you earned, expenses, profit, how much time you spent, and then you can determine whether it's actually worthwhile in attending again. And as always, I like to include some note space if you want to record any other notes as well. Then the last of the pages, there's that freight cost comparison. If you do want to have a look at the pages or have a quick skim through, I have done a blog post as well on my blog. It's allaboutthehousePrintablesblog.com, where you can just have a quick scroll through if you can't remember what the pages look like and you don't want to have to go and watch the video again. And I also include more detail about how I use the pages as well if you need some more ideas. So there's the shipping cost comparison, the potential retailers page, the wholesalers page, pre-order sign-up sheet. There's a couple of different versions of this one. So there is one to record all of the products on one page, or if you want separate pages for each product, and it's the same layout for the waiting list as well. That this belongs to page that I was talking about earlier. If we scroll down, there's space to record your details, the sales log, then the checklist, and the time tracker. So this was that 2-page spread printable. This one's editable as well, so you can record, okay, on Monday at 8 AM if you're super keen and you're an early bird. Then you can record what you did then. So you did a blog post to promote the upcoming market, and that took you an hour to write. So I would put blog post, and then I was still doing that at 8:30, so blog post again. At 9 o'clock I went and had breakfast, so I don't fill in anything there, etc., whatever you want to put in there. And then you record the total hours that you spent. You could also use this for just your business or your blog in general. If you want to work out how much to charge for clients or how much you need to charge for a product to be profitable, then you can use this as well. It doesn't have to only be used for craft shows that you're attending, or handmade markets, trade shows, trunk shows, whatever your like marketing event you're going to. And you can also record the total time that you worked. So you can look back on these and see, okay, I spent 4 weeks planning for this show and I spent 50 hours in total and I only made $1,000. It probably is not worthwhile attending that craft show again. Or you can see which are your biggest time guzzlers. So if you spent 3 hours writing a blog post and no one saw it, but you did a picture on Instagram and that got like 300 likes, you go, okay, maybe I should focus more on Instagram marketing rather than spending so much time doing a detailed blog post. And as always, I love checklists. So I've included a nice big checklist on their weekly page as well, and some extra note-taking space. You can use these printables for any and every year. They're undated, so you can type straight in what the week is. So if it's the week of January 26th to whatever it is, you can type that straight in. So remember, these light blue fields are editable. Wherever you see this field, you can click and add your own text. So that's basically all of the pages that are included. There's 100 different pages included in the planner. If you do want to have another look at the planner or need some more ideas on how to use the pages, how to set it up, how to order them, then I encourage you to check out this blog post, which is on allaboutthehousePrintablesblog.com. And if you did want to purchase the craft show planner, it's available in my Etsy shop, which you can find at allaboutthehouse on Etsy, and I also have an online shop as well. The address for that is www.allaboutthehouseprintables.com.au. So if you have any questions about how to use the pages or any of the products in general, how printables work, etc., just leave a comment below, or you can send me an email via allaboutthehouseetsy@gmail.com. So hopefully you find these craft show printable pages as helpful as I have, and thanks for watching.